that wasn't the, our plan wasn't
Yeah.
to call it a hiatus in lieu of wanting to call it a breakup. It was, was what it was. But I get it. I understand why people would interpret it the other way. Yeah.
It's because it's an aesthetically pleasing word. Hiatus.
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 Sounds very very Latin.
Yeah.
Fallout Boy! Yeah!
In the first place, we didn't really mean to announce it or anything. It just kind of happened, I mean, somebody asked what we were up to, and it's like, oh, not much, and that turns into, they broke up, and we're like, no, we're on hiatus. They're on hiatus, they broke up, and so.
Hey, what's up? We're Fall Out Boy.
So we're all standing around this fire, throwing records out there and taking photos, and it was kind of this really surreal moment because it was like, this is our first public act as Fall Out Boy in 3 years. And
It felt semi-legal.
Hello fellow emos, today's video is part 3 of the post-hiatus Fall Out Boy iceberg. If you're not already subscribed, then please do hit the subscribe button. I post new videos weekly. And as always, MCR5 2024, it is so happening. It is so real. You just gotta believe, Let's go. Soul Punk. Soul Punk refers to the debut solo album Patrick released in 2011. What's remarkable about this album is that Patrick created it basically all by himself. He wrote all of the tracks, played all of the instruments, and handled production. On creating the album by himself, Patrick said, "When it comes to pop music, there's this perception that all you have to do is press a button on your iPad to get the sounds, but I wanted to make it with love and put a lot into it. A lot of people ask, well, where did you get the drum sounds? I played them. What synth plugin was that? I played all the synths. How did you get that bass tone? It's the bass. I really wanted to put all the effort in, even if people might not notice. That is genuinely so impressive to me that one person can have so much musical talent." Whilst the album has a different sound to Fall Out Boy, I think it's great. I normally prefer heavier music, but there's just something so mesmerizing about this album. However, it did receive mixed reviews across the scene. Most notably, Kerrang only gave it a 2 out of 5 rating, which is almost blasphemous. I always say that Kerrang never misses, but perhaps I stand corrected. When talking about the album having a different sound, Patrick said, "And if I'm going to disappoint people by not making Take This to Your Grave Part 2, I would rather do that before Soul Punk, because that record means something to me. I had way too much material, and a lot of it didn't make sense on the record, but it still felt like something. So I made a little mini record out of them, and it sort of became a concept record for me. So all of those reasons and more, I decided, screw it, I'm going to put this out." Soul Punk hit number 47 on the Billboard 200 chart and number 143 on the UK Albums chart.
Amazing. The new record, Soul Punk, is out. I heard that you played every instrument on that record. How many instruments do you play anyway?
I don't know. Informally, it's kind of, what's the line from Departed? It's like, you give me a tuba, I'll make something out of it. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I kind of just, mess around with instruments and see what happens.
You're all self-taught.
Yeah. I can't read or anything, so I play. I can't read music, so I play everything by ear, and I just kind of figure stuff out. But I would say, drums are my home. That's my first instrument. Then bass. I'm pretty competent at bass. I picked up guitar in Fall Out Boy, so I'm a pretty competent guitar player now. Singing, I guess. So I use my voice a lot. I've always kind of messed around with keyboards, and so that extends to tons of instruments. And then I can do some trumpet and some trombone. I have a little bit of brass aptitude. I'm terrible with woodwinds, but I try.
Yeah, give it time.
I try, but I'm kind of iffy on saxophone.
Truant Wave. Truant Wave refers to Patrick's debut EP, which was released in 2011. Yes, he released an EP and an album in the same year. On releasing 2 projects so closely together, Patrick said, "Formal album releases take so much time to prepare, so I'd like to announce the release of Truant Wave, a digital EP I've put together of songs I felt strongly about, but it didn't have a place for within the narrative of soul punk." Having recorded Soul Punk as the sole performer and writer, creating Truant Wave also presented a welcome opportunity for me to work with some of my gifted friends on my solo material. Truant Wave has a similar sound to soul punk, although I personally prefer soul punk. Truant Wave isn't bad, it's just that I connect with soul punk more. Punk News gave the album a 1 out of 5 rating and wrote, "To put it bluntly, Truant Wave, a teaser for its forthcoming full-length album, is one giant swing and miss. Far from the Motown-esque soul record I was hoping for, this is modern pop music at its worst. It's not even good for what it is. Disposable bubblegum music of this nature should at very least be catchy, and it isn't even. When he manages to write a decent hook, such as in the chorus to Spotlight, it is complemented with a drum beat that completely clashes with it, preventing the listener from even humming along. It feels like you're listening to 2 different songs at once, and neither of them are very interesting." I can't find Kerrang's review of Truant Wave, so I don't know if this has just been lost at time, or perhaps they never reviewed it. Despite the many negative reviews and lack of promotion, Truant Wave hit number 67 on the Billboard 200 chart and number 4 on the UK Independent Breakers Albums chart.
So I had heard from you that it was going to be more of like an R&B leaning sound, and then I heard it, and I'm not surprised actually. It really is. It's sort of a straight up R&B EP.
Well,
you know, I wanted to ask you about that. So, I mean, where did that all come from?
Well, it's funny to me because some people that have heard it, you know, I've heard that it's very, very R&B. For some people, I've heard it's. I mean, not even necessarily the EP itself, but the shows I've been doing and stuff. I've been hearing it's still very punk or whatever, and that was so. Obviously, the album that will be coming out eventually is called Soul Punk, and that was part of the joke is that I can't really figure it out. I don't really know, you know. And that's the thing is it's kind of just it was. Part of it was I didn't want to push that stuff into Fall Out Boy. The whole, you know, I kind of do some funky things sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
No, you can tell that's definitely your influences, like the R&B and stuff.
Black Cards. Black Cards refers to Pete's side band, which BB Rexha, Nate Patterson, and Spencer Peterson were also a part of. Black Cards had a poppy, electronic kind of vibe. BB was an amateur singer at the time, and Pete just so happened to overhear her recording demos. This then led Pete to recruiting her for his band. You could say that Pete launched BB's career. Black Cards was a short-lived project which only lasted 2 years. However, they managed to release 2 mixtapes, an EP, and a single within that time. Black Cards personally just isn't my type of music, and so I never got into them. I don't think they were bad, I just never connected with them. BB eventually left the band to pursue solo projects, which of course ended up working out incredibly well for her, and that was kind of the end of Black Cards. They sort of just fizzled out after that, and eventually they disbanded. The Damn Things. The Damn Things refers to the supergroup that Andy and Joe were a part of. It's perhaps my favourite Fall Out Boy side project, mostly because Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die was on vocals, and I think he's incredibly talented. It's also the heaviest Fall Out Boy side project. The other members of the Damn Things were Scott Ian from Anthrax and Dan Andriano from Alkaline Trio. Previous members of the band include Josh Newton of Every Time I Die and Rob Caggiano of Volbeat. The band started creating material in 2008, which is prior to the Fall Out Boy hiatus. However, they wouldn't start performing and releasing music together until 2010. Iron Eye Class was the debut album, which dropped in 2010. The album received fantastic reviews and hit number 1 on the US Heat chart and number 32 on the US Rock chart. The band would go quiet in 2012, but would return again in 2016. The band would then release their second album, High Crimes, in 2019, which again received very positive reviews, and it hit number 6 on the US Heat chart. Although the band haven't said they've broken up, they've not publicly done anything together since 2019, which is why I've referred to them in the past tense. Although Scott has previously stated, and I quote, "The band was never not together. Even though we weren't doing anything, we never said we're not the damn things. We never broke up. We're all off being in our other bands for the last 9 years or so. So who knows, maybe we'll get more music from them in the future, fingers crossed." Shark Selfie. Shark Selfie refers to the iconic selfie Pete took with a shark before he was attacked by it. I'm joking, it's obviously edited. However, the photo was used by and presented as being legitimate by some clickbait/fake news websites. The story goes that Pete is actually James Crowler, a 34-year-old insurance salesman from Oregon who had died in a freak shark attack after capturing the selfie. This then caused actual news sites to put out articles that correctly pointed out the man in the image is Pete, he's fine, and the selfie was edited. The photo is iconic though, and this is the kind of celebrity prank that I love. It's like Poot Lovato, but for emos. Joe would be hot with hams for hands. Joe would be hot with hams for hands refers to a YouTube video called A Dramatic Reading of Fall Out Boy Fan Confessions, read by Fall Out Boy, where Joe reads out the confession, I get off whenever I type Joe Troman as Joe Tro Ham. Joe would be hot with hams for hands. It then became an inside joke within the fandom. No, but seriously imagine it. refers to a Tumblr post that, if you remember seeing on Tumblr, then you may be entitled to financial compensation. The post reads, no, but seriously imagine it. You're seeing Fall Out Boy on a concert, everyone is having a great time. Fall Out Boy seem a little excited. We have a surprise for you guys, Patrick says. All of a sudden, Panic at the Disco come out and start singing This Is Gospel. When Brendan gets to the chorus, someone else starts singing. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. Lights flash everywhere, and you see Fall Out Boy singing This Is Gospel, along with Panic at the Disco, while MCR is singing Black Parade. Everyone in the crowd is going wild and crying. Then, if things couldn't get any better, Dan and Phil walk onto stage and kiss, holding the gay flag. This post went viral on Tumblr for obvious reasons, and now it's a copy-pasta. Phil Lester even referenced it in 2023 when Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance got announced for When We Were Young festival. Vine. Vine refers to the fact that Fall Out Boy were on Vine, as well as the individual members. Unfortunately, a lot of these videos have been lost to time, but thankfully quite a few were archived. Watching them is like stepping back in a time machine. The humor is so of its time. I'm gonna play a few of them for you now.
Oh my god, look at all this food! Oh my god, look at all this food! Oh my god, look at all this food!
This is good. Meta.
Bloom. Bloom refers to a project Fall Out Boy created, which you can partly watch on YouTube. It includes a short film, and the description reads, growing up, the things that informed my life and me the most were experimental. These were the moments that you could live inside. I remember there was a summer where Guns N' Roses, Terminator 2, and slalom water skiing all met up in my head. It was relentless in the way I thought about them and the way that they commingled with each other. I can remember that summer, and still in some ways go back and live inside of it, because of the way it was so experimental and transformative for me. There is a texture to it, like pop culture was curated by some force that summer for me personally. Bloom is meant to be an experimental idea, one that started as a conversation between us and Bobby Hundreds, just an idea. Then it became a short film about how you can empower yourself, how falling/failing can make you stronger. But that conversation became bigger, and we realized that we could create a film, stage uniforms, stage looks, show design, and merchandise, and have them all inform each other, so that we could make a moment that would be different than all the other moments before it and after it, and that you could take with you as a texture. In so many ways, it is amazing the dialogue we can have and the art we can create and share with each other now. I love seeing the fan art from TV shows and movies I love. It's the conversation that wasn't truly possible in that summer to me. That's what I appreciate the most about now. So if you're reading this, you're a part of Bloom. Sometimes you have to crack the pavement before you can bloom. PW. P went on to explain in an interview that we wanted to do something that was kind of compelling and experimental, but most importantly, I wanted to tell a narrative that sometimes the hard stuff you go through makes you stronger. It carves you into somebody stronger. You guys inspire us, and so we wanted to do something that was inspiring and uplifting and hopefully resonates, he continued. I hit up my friend Bobby from Hundreds, and he came up with the idea for a short film, which we're also going to release on the internet. We designed a show that we've never performed before, hopefully something that maybe you haven't seen before too. If you read the comments on the YouTube video, you can see how confused fans were by the whole concept. Was it new music? What is this? What does it mean? And honestly, I get that. It is a little confusing. But don't get me wrong, I love when bands experiment with stuff. And that's where we're going to leave the iceberg for now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover in videos, then please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Thank you.